Hello, everyone.
Hey Adelere, I assume you and Maria are excellent, and Ryan.
Thank you. Yes, we are. And I assume that you are all excellent too. Alrighty. We are begun changing. Oh, steadied imagination this afternoon. That's great, Scott. Congratulations. That's a level of mastery and rising in consciousness. So we have been changing from feelings that kept you burdened to the ones that, well, unburden you. And if you'd realize or recognize it, you'll find in Matthew 20, 18, rather Matthew 11:28. Okay, I mean Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest." So if you're heavy laden, well, the place where you're going to find rest is in your imagination. Come to me. Well, this is awakened imagination speaking. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. In other words, imitate my nature and action. For I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. So, when it comes to shame, well, we started learning about how shame is triggered or excused or justified on the basis of things a person does not like, which do happen to them, which they do not want other people to, well, know about them. And so the mere thought, the mere idea that others are going to know this about them triggers them, right? And of course, makes them throw away such a feeling as boldness or feeling even ordinary kindness. And all that makes them do is feel shameful. The shame could come from failure. It could come from um, promising a thing and finding that you didn't meet the promise. Or it could come from having an expectation of yourself or believing others have an expectation of you and also seeing or evaluating yourself as not having met it. But whichever way it is that it comes, it's so important for you to recognize today that unburden yourself from it and rather put yourself under divine acquittal, meaning that you are completely and totally justified and redeemed. It's justified by heaven's order. It doesn't matter what you did or what you didn't do. It all doesn't matter at all. You stand in the presence of full and total grace and mercy, by which everything that you think you should be ashamed of is all washed away. That is the sense of freedom to have. So, what is it that you want to be ashamed of in this world anyway? What is it that you want to be ashamed of? First, the feeling of shame is keeping that thing in place. If you stop feeling ashamed, it would go. Second, begin to believe in yourself. If you're feeling ashamed, especially as a result of feeling like you failed at something, actually begin to believe in yourself. Do you know that if you become so successful to a point, whatever you thought was your failure, either the world would no longer remember to talk about it, or in fact, if they wanted to talk about it, they'll talk about it with so much happiness. You know, I actually began to see that, or maybe that was in fact my dream that got me out of shame in my own era of feeling shameful. I realized that if there was a thing and I thought, oh, this was shameful, or this wasn't the standard I wanted to have accomplished, and I was here, and it wasn't the standard I wanted at all, and now people had seen me in it, and I don't like that. Forget the shame because and believe in yourself. So forget the shame by believing in yourself so much, believing in your ability to experience the ideal you would love to, believing in your imagination, believing in the vision that you're holding in your mind. Because if you believe in yourself, you would recognize it's going to be so obvious to you. No matter what the shame is of the moment, the freedom that comes, or rather, you having the result that comes in an ideal form, or you becoming a better person, accomplishing your results, realizing your goals, making your ideals come true, would still trump it. It would just like trump it. It wouldn't matter how much of shame you felt. No one would talk about it or remember it. Or if at all they want to talk about it, they would talk about it in an inspiring manner. It would become an example to them, to all those who had shame or who have shame, that it doesn't matter how shameful it might seem to you at the moment, if you push yourself to forget it, to set it aside and concentrate on the objective and accomplishing the goal before you, and you actually accomplish it, what you call shame right now would become an inspiring story for others. That it doesn't matter where you're starting from. You could think your background is something to be ashamed of. How about you become so successful that your background becomes a musical story of inspiration to people? Like, did you know how this person rose from the background to this level? And it becomes heroic. But shame wouldn't let a person see all that. So you've got to actually set aside the feeling. Just stop feeding yourself more and more shame. And start with recognizing that you are God. You are not your body. In case you're ashamed of something about your body, no, you are not that body. You are God. In case you're ashamed about your lifestyle, you are not your lifestyle. You are God. In case you are ashamed about your current situation, you are not your current situation. Do you know who you are? You are God. And being God, you are able to change any and all of these experiences because you are God. And you're not even those things to start with. So you can change them, flip them into something else you would like to have. Do you understand? You are not the mistakes you've made. You are God. You are not the past you're so afraid of. You are God. You are not the history that you've been judged by again and again and again. Even maybe people actually point out that history to you. No, you are not that. You are God. You really are not. Your body will die, you will live it. Your history, it will fade one day. Your past, everybody that knows you with it are all going to die one day. Rather, is all going to die one day anyway. Your mistakes, they're actually the best course of actions for somebody somewhere else in the world. Did you know that? All the stuff you thought or your mistakes. Either you call them life mistakes or oh, mistake I made in this particular point in time. They actually, that mistake is the same thing someone else did, and they thought that was like the best discovery of their lives or the best thing that ever happened to them was doing that, whether deliberately or by mistake. All of these things that you are so ashamed of, they are actually irrelevant. And the ideal that you are Christ, that's the ideal of all ideals. If you'd concentrate on that, you would see all that you call your shame disappear. Understand that Christ already took your reproach. Did you know that? Did you know that Christ already took your reproach? Did you actually? Yes, that Christ already took your reproach. Let me show it to you. Okay. And I'll then also tell you in what context and how powerful it is that he took your reproach. Isaiah 53, that's where you want to read. Isaiah 53. It says, who has believed our report, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He has no form, nor comeliness. The word comeliness means no beauty of face. He has no form means no elegant shape. Okay, that's attractive. And when we see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. This him that's been spoken of here, by the way, is the Lord. He is despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. Like he is so despised and rejected that we hid our faces from him. We don't want to see him. We don't even want him to see us. He was despised and we did not esteem him. Surely, look at this, he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. He was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. He already took your reproach. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, and so he opened not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who will declare his generation? For he was cut off from the land of the living. For the transgressions of my people, he was stricken. That's Isaiah 53. It's actually describing the relationship between imagination and your identity, your individuality, so to say. Your individuality, that's like me, Adelere. That's my individuality. My imagination, that's God. That's still me, right? But that's God. Now, my individuality associates with my humanity. It's defined, in fact, based on my humanity. That's my individuality. I'm an individual because I'm a human being. Because I know what it is to be a person. Because I can say this is my personal one, my personal traits, my personal experience, my personal example, my personal feeling, right? That's why I am an individual. Or that's what it means that I'm an individual. On the other hand, imagination is simply awake within me, makes me alive, breathe, and of course, takes everything that my individuality does as its own. If I were to imagine being oppressed, what did you think imagination would do? Imagination would actually be oppressed with me. I would imagine being oppressed, but that's imagination being oppressed. The being in you. So he took all our sorrows. He's cut off from the living. No one has ever said, well, this is the birth that my imagination made in this world. This is the little son. We'll call him Isaiah because is the son of imagination. Well, there's an amazing friend in my estate who just gave birth, and I visited and I gave him a gift for his son. What's his name? Well, his name is Adam. Oh, wonderful. The first man. That's why I said, oh, that's wonderful. Is the first man. Alrighty. But you know what? He gave birth to the child in his individuality, his humanity, not his imagination. I mean, imagination didn't reproduce and give birth to that child. So took on all the reproach, everything that you've ever done, everything you've ever witnessed, all the shame you've ever had. Imagination had to feel it all, even though he is the Lord of all. Imagination had to go through it all, even though he is the powerful, mighty God who created the heavens and the earth. So what are you feeling ashamed for? Now, what's sin? Missing the mark, isn't it? Whatever mark it is that you set for yourself. And when you miss it, that's where shame comes in. Actually, you missed the mark, you feel ashamed that you missed the mark. But did you know that the one person who has missed the mark the most in this world is God? And the mark he missed was becoming you. He missed the mark of being God and he became a man. So he became a man, you, as of today. And that's him missing the mark. That's the mark he missed. That he became man and he forgot who he was as God, or he stopped maintaining the ideal of being a divine being. And he's found in the form of a flesh, of a servant in the form of in the flesh, in the form of human. But do you know what all that really translates to? That everything you've gone through that you are so ashamed of is nothing to be ashamed of. Because it's all just a play. And rather, do you know what you could do to remove the shame? Forgive yourself. That's how you remove the shame. Forgive yourself. Have total and complete love for yourself. Love that accepts. Look at, for example, my little boy. Now, he could go and take a paint bucket and pour it on himself and paint himself yellow and green and red and blue and white and really dirty the clothes he's wearing, he's putting on. What do you think my reaction would be to that? That's funny, right? If a human being were to actually paint themselves in yellow, green, blue, and red and walk on the streets like that, you'd you'd ask yourself, does this person have any is this person even okay? Do they have any form of shame left? Don't they feel ashamed to wear something like this? You'd ask yourself that. Well, say that a kid did that. What are you going to do? Are you going to think this kid has no shame? Are you going to automatically just accept it completely as it is? Even though it will take you cleaning and it will take your time. to get the cleaning done. But wouldn't you just accept it totally and completely? Yes, you would. But then you are the father and you are the son of man as well. So, as the father, your imagination within you acts towards yourself in the attitude that you completely accepted all the mistakes you'd made, like a little child coloring the body, the clothes, with all kinds of paint. You just accept. And you clean the child up and you totally shouldn't, the child doesn't even have to ask. You totally forgive it. Accept yourself that way and you free yourself from shame. And remind yourself of all the great things that you want to accomplish. And that is going to happen. So that's how you free yourself from shame, forgive yourself completely. Alrighty. So see you on Wednesday. And until then, bye bye everyone.